Hi everyone. I'm Genesis. If we haven't met yet, I'm the admin for Humble Beginnings. Today, me and Abdul King are going to host this meeting. So we're going to do a Q&A. I do want to start out. So if you have any questions, just unmute yourself or write them in the chat. I can read them out loud too. But I do want to start this out with saying, we are using the group me right now. If you're not part of the group me, just let me know. Or if you go on FFL, humblebeginnings.com, I'll put it on the chat. But under agent tools, you'll be able to find our group me there. But we're going to be moving to a different platform. It's called Telegram. I don't know if you have it already, but I'm gonna reach out to you. I'm gonna put it on the group me as well, so you can start adding yourself. It may take some time for everyone to transfer over, so keep using the group me. Keep going on group me for any agency call updates, recognition, anything like that. You're gonna know when we're going to close the group me and we're moving to Telegram. Another thing as well, something new that we're starting, every Thursday, we're gonna have business presentation meetings here, business development meetings. We call them BDMs. So we're doing that every Thursday here in the Ben Salem office. We may be going over to across the street to the Central Division office to do this. But what that means is that you want to invite guests. You want to invite guests that you feel would be a good fit for Family First Life. But just let us know. Let us know each week when you plan on inviting guests here. The meetings are only about 30 minutes. If there's any questions, feel free to just let your guests know that they can ask us questions if they have some. But that's a good way to start recruiting. When you recruit in your business, that's a great way to grow faster. But that's pretty much that. If you have questions about that, you have my number. Text me, give me a call. But that's pretty much it. But like I said, this is pretty much a Q&A for me and Ab. Ab, do you have anything to say?
No, we went over it. I'm looking at the chat. I see a lot of people are fairly new agents. So this training is not going to be long, but we want to get questions answered. Anything, if you're not contracted yet, what are some questions that you were thinking about that you would like to hear from us? If you're newer in the you haven't completed your 100 appointments yet, what is something that you're struggling with? So we'll be able to help you out. And if you have a question, no dumb questions, you can just ask. Or if no questions, you can also share an experience that you had if you were just in the field this previous week. You can share an experience that you had that might be beneficial to the group, or an experience that you had today during dialing, you can share as well. So anybody have any questions, just feel free to unmute and we can answer them for you or put them in the chat.
Yeah, any managers could share too. I see Tanner's on here, Chappelle, Grant. So if y'all have anything to say, please share.
All right, but while people might be thinking of their questions about piggyback off the BDMs, so this is a way for us to grow our agency. Even though you're new, you might not know anything about the business. What the BDMs does is it takes all the pressure off of you. All you gotta do is get the person to the BDMs. I believe we may be recording some of them on Zoom as well. So if you're not in Philadelphia, you can also still tap in. So what the BDM does for us is it allows your prospects to get in front of the managers here, and we basically explain the business to them, basically help them get started as well. So there's no pressure, even if you don't want to say, I don't want to recruit yet, I want to get started, I want to know everything. You don't have to do that here. All right, so once you bring on a new recruit, your manager, we will help them, we will help your new recruit succeed while you starting off getting your business going. So you don't have to worry about training anybody or anything like that. We'll do all that heavy lifting for you and in the beginning for you. So just wanted to get that off from the BDM. So anybody got questions? If nobody got questions, I'm gonna start calling on people.
I did post a Telegram and the Telegram link on the chat, as well as our website. So copy that and put it in your notes. So either take care of it now or visit the site later. But remember, start jumping onto Telegram. We're gonna start, that's gonna be our only mode of communication, besides of course call or text, but as a chat group, that's what we're gonna start using now. So get on as soon as you can. I would like to get on there sooner than later. It's a great platform because we could pin things on there. You could share video, record, a whole lot. So just make sure you add yourself there.
All right, so I guess people being shy.
I was gonna say something about recruiting real quick.
Okay, all right.
Especially for like if there's new agents on here, like y'all said. Because a big thing that is like sometimes can be a turnoff sometimes is hearing that word recruiting when you're new in the business. I know it was for me. And so like, especially for the new agents coming in, like if you don't feel confident in what you know so far in the business and everything and with what you're doing, the main thing to remember is like, you're just passing on the opportunity. Someone passed on the opportunity to you to change your life through this business. And you're just passing on the opportunity to someone else. It's not necessarily recruiting. You don't have to look at it like that. Just pass on the opportunity and let us help you guys to keep growing between the two of you, not just try to handle it yourself and stuff. So, yeah. I wish someone would have told me that at the beginning.
All right, let's see what we got on here. I'm calling on Grant. Grant, can you unmute for me? Are you able to unmute?
Hey, man.
Hey, Grant, I got a question for you since somebody don't have no questions. So,
Okay.
Grant, you've been in the business for a little while now. You did plenty of months when you helped about 20 families in a month, right? I want you to share with everyone, because sometimes you wasn't one of the agents that jumped out the gate helping 20 families as soon as you got started. You kind of like progress yourself there, right? I want you to share what was the biggest difference from you when you was helping 5 families, 10 families a month to when you help 20 families in a month.
Well, that's a good question. What's the biggest difference? Well, I think the best answer to that question is the level of activity when you're doing what you can to, when you're working hard and setting appointments, and you're doing just that, setting appointments as well as getting referrals. That of course is going to increase your activity. So having that increased activity makes a huge difference in terms of writing 20 families. And so we can't speak high enough about, doing our due diligence and making sure we have enough appointments booked, making sure that and when we don't have enough appointments booked, that we're going and we're also including door knocking and being strategic about our business, because that's what's going to help us to be successful. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did answer my question. Thanks for that. So activity is the main thing, the difference between helping 5 and helping 20. It wasn't like getting better in the home, getting better on the phone. It was just simply the activity that you was putting in.
Well, I mean, like you said, I've been in the insurance business for a while, so I pretty much had a good foundation from where I came from. And when I had questions, I always made sure I called my upline. I would always call Ryan Hall. I would always call Corey, or I would always call someone that knew more than me. So that was part of, but that's a result of having more activity. So again, when you have the activity, when you're in front of people, the growth and the teaching of learning how to do this business is going to come. So I always just try to make sure that I have, like I said, enough appointments booked. If I don't have enough appointments booked, then I'm door knocking. And I've always been a person that's walked up to people, give them my business card and asked them who they use for insurance, or they know someone that needs life insurance. So those are the things that help me to generate the activity. And those are the things that I do now. And then, and just doing that. And what happens is, as you continue to do that, as you continue to fill the funnel, so to speak, that activity just becomes more and more and more. So if you're not happy about where you are, just know that you continue to do the activities that will bring you the business. You will wind up getting exactly what you want. So I never get discouraged about not having enough appointments. I just keep going, because as you keep going, that activity that you're looking for will get there.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's great, man. Thank you for that answer. Thank you for participating as well. So if anybody has some questions, man, they can put them in the chat. Let's see, I'm calling on somebody else next. Who I want to call on? All right, I see Jasmine. Jasmine, you can unmute for me?
Yep.
Oh, how you doing? How you doing today, Jazz?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. I had an early day. I had some appointments earlier today. So now back in the house, getting my orders organized and whatnot.
All right, that's good. That's good. So I got a question for you, right?
Okay.
So you're fairly new in the business as well. You haven't been here for a year yet. You've been here less
Sure.
than a year. So I want to know, what was something when you first started in the business that you struggled with, and how were you able to overcome it?
So I guess when I first started the business, what I struggled with was people being at the houses when I would set the appointments. So I would set a good amount of appointments. I would set like 10, 12 appointments, 15 appointments, something like that. And then I would go to a house and nobody would be there. Like every house, you know what I'm saying? Nobody would be there or whatever. I might've seen like one person, 2 people out of 12 people. So I'll be like, and I'll be frustrated. Like I'll be hot because, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes these niggas be in the house, you know? So, but they weren't answering to the door. They weren't coming to the door, whatever. So what I did to improve that is to work on my tie downs, to figure out like 3 tie downs that made sense, that I needed someone to commit to. One was like, if I get lost in the neighborhood, is this the best number to reach you at so I can find your house? You know, another is just like, you know, the confirmation, you know, this is the confirmation, but along with saying like, this is the confirmation, to be like, you know, but as you're writing down the confirmation, just make sure that you write down that we have an appointment for this day at this time. Then the other was just to acknowledge that, hey, you know what, I'm seeing a lot of people. You're not the only one who's looking to get insurance to protect themselves and to protect their family. And because of that, I might be a little bit late. I'm coming from far away. Can you absolutely be here at this time? Is this absolutely the best time for you? You know, and once I started to get those types of confirmations, then I started to have a higher probability that people would be home. Then it wasn't like, okay, I'm going to see 12 people and I'm only seeing 2. Now it's like 12 people and I've ended up seeing 8 out of the 12. Now, granted, so that was one difficulty that I was like, well, let me figure out how to have stronger tie downs. And even within thinking about telesales, I'm thinking about how to have stronger tie downs with telesales too, because I don't want to just like master one thing. I want to be good at both things, because sometimes you might not be able to make it out into the field, but that doesn't mean that you can't make money that day.
It's true.
But another challenge that I had beyond the people actually being at the appointments was I would be in the sale. I would be so hyped. I'm like, man, I got this. You know, say I got this. And then as soon as we got to the end of it, I got hit with an objection. Either like the objection was, oh, you know, I don't have any money. The objection was, oh, well, you know, I want to think about it. The objection was, oh, you know, all these things. And what I started to do in my pitch when I got into home is put those objections inside the beginning of the pitch. So, and just to explain myself, you know, just to explain who I am, you know, I'm a field underwriter. I work with Family First Life. Family First Life has been in business for like 25 years. I don't know how long Family First Life has been in business.
Yeah,
But
about 8 years. About
8 years,
Yeah,
you know, longer sounds better.
but the insurance
But,
company's been there for over 100 years that we work with.
these insurance companies been with over 100 years. I work with this company, that company. The idea that we work with so many different companies is I don't get one person just set up with just one company. We find which company works best with them, which company works best with their finances, because no matter how little a person makes or not how much, we want to make sure that price is not a reason why someone is unable to get insurance today, you know, or to let them know that we're getting signed up today. In the beginning too. And I'm talking about letting them know that we get signed up today, because who am I? I'm a field underwriter. We're looking at these different companies. And within us looking at these different companies, what we're going to do is that we're going to see what company best fits you. So we're going to get you set up today, you know, and then have the close at the beginning of my pitch. So then it just flows into the end of the pitch. So therefore it just lowers the probability of someone pulling up an objection at the end of it, but also going into why they decided to get set up with this anyway, and just highlighting those reasons as to why they decided to get set up. Like if they decided to get set up because they were concerned about their kids, concerned about their burial, and having different stories that reflect that. And one story I've been using is actually a story of my friend. And this is more so for younger people who are like, well, I don't think I need it. Is I have a friend who is 36 years old, and about a year and a half ago, he had a stroke and had a brain bleed. And from having a stroke and had a brain bleed is that he could not walk, and he also couldn't talk anymore. Ended up losing his house, losing his car, and had to move back into his people, with his people, you know. Is all that true? I don't know if all of it's true, but most of it is. He definitely had a stroke. I don't know if he lost his house. I don't think he had a house, but he definitely lost his apartment. But the idea of telling somebody something like that is just to highlight the reason why, if this happened to someone like him, and he's only 36, it can also happen to you too. And if he had something like this in place, it would have paid out and he would have been able to better finance his situation. And sometimes people need examples and they need stories that they can relate to. Because I could relate to being 36. I'm only 37. I could relate to someone having a health concern that they don't know about, because I know so many people who've had it. So the idea is, like, when you're in the house, is to make it real for them in the way that they understand it, and not just that they want it, but that they need it.
Yep. Okay, I agree with that. I used a similar story in the home but it actually happened. I had a 38-year-old woman, but she actually had a mortgage protection policy with me, and she had a stroke. She's only 38 years old, but she had the policy with me, be put in the claim, but she was actually able to pay off her home when she had a single parent of 2 children. So that's right. And then also, when you're talking about the trial close, I hope y'all caught that. So the more you put in those objections before you even get hit with them, you will turn into less of them. Like, I asked, do you have a checking and banking account? Because that's how the payments are going to be drafted each month. All right, while I'm in the financial inventory sheet. And like Jasmine said, I'm a field underwriter. I'm here to find you a company that best fits your needs and your budget. If I find you a company that best fits your needs and your budget, is there any reason why we wouldn't apply for this insurance today? And they say no. Once they say no, that's basically your go ahead. If you can meet their need with their budget, you're writing an application, right? You're not going to get the I need to think about it. So that was good. And thank you for your participation, Jess.
I appreciate it. Hopefully that was helpful.
No problem. All right, let's see who else on here. And no one else got any questions on anything that Grant or Jasmine said so far? Or do Corey or Tanner, do you guys want to piggyback on something that they said? You guys can unmute as well. me see what else I got here.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Grant. Now,
Okay,
it's
go
not
ahead.
it's not necessarily for me, but I feel like somebody may be able to benefit from it because I know it's something I struggle with.
Mhm.
So, especially for the new agents in this business, how do you, when people are used to having a 40-hour schedule, how do you adjust with the mindset that you need to have for your scheduling? Or because you do have the autonomy, sometimes you may have to make adjustments, but how do you set it up where you're not like losing your mind if you don't keep your schedule, or you're having a hard time keeping to a schedule? How do you set yourself up where you're successful without losing your mind, so to speak?
All right. I can just speak on how I like to set my schedule each month. I know everybody's different. First, I put everything in my calendar. Hey, every single thing I do is going into my calendar. All right. Another way how to keep that 40 hour like work week ethic when you're working for yourself is I put everything on my calendar. Even when people call me during the day, because a lot of people know I work for myself. I can't run an errand for you. I'm at work. Right. So I eliminate all the distractions. When anybody call me, ask me to do something, I can do that after work. Or I'm not available until 7 o'clock. My last appointment is at 7. I can do it then. Right. So I eliminate all the distractions. And also each day that I wake up, the first thing that I do is I set my schedule and goals for the day. All right. So in the morning, I'm looking at my appointments. I'm seeing where my appointments is. I'm setting up some door knocks in between there. That's how I used to do. So any important clients that I need to follow up with, I'm making sure I'm putting that on my list for to-dos for the day, or any policy services that I have, or any phone calls that I need to make. I'm putting that each morning. I'm waking up like, what do I have to do to get me to my goal for that week? All right. So that's what I typically use. I definitely use my calendar. The way I organize my tasks each morning, I do A's, I do B's, I do C's, right? Anything that's an A has to get done first. That's the most important thing that I have to do, right? And then you got your B's, and then you got your C's is least important. I don't do a C before I do an A or B. I gotta do them in order. So that way I'll be the most productive. Right? If I don't get to the C's by the end of the day, they turn into A's the next day. All right. So that's typically how I keep my structure. That's typically how I keep my structure. Then I'm putting everything in my calendar. Like even my times that I'm dialing is going into my calendar. So that way I always know where I'm at. I can look at my schedule and know where I'm at before I can commit to anything with anybody. Let me check my calendar first, and let me squeeze you in here. So that's how I'm able to keep that work ethic, keep putting in those hours and activity that I do have.
Got you. I got one more question I wanted to ask you, Abdul, if you don't mind, if nobody else has a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So do you have a certain day, like for people that don't have an admin or who would like to aspire to have an admin, do you have a certain day where you handle like administration stuff, or where you have to follow up on different policies? How do you work that onto your calendar?
All right, so I don't have a certain day. I actually do it as it comes in.
Okay.
So what I do is I knock that out early in the morning. 9 a.m. The carriers open at 9 a.m. and that's when I'm calling. I'll be the first one on the line. I'll be the first one on the line soon as they open. So that way, in 10 minutes, I'm done all of my underwriting, all my pending things. I'm done that in 10 minutes. I'm done by 9:15 every day with any of my calls. So some new agents, what they struggle with is they might call at 12 o'clock. They may call at 3 o'clock and they be on hold for 45 minutes to an hour, right? I'm sure you can relate, but I don't run into that problem, which is which is why I just call early in the mornings and get it done. Now, if I have a 9 a.m. appointment that morning, I would do it for the next day that I don't have a 9 a.m. And that'll be the first thing I'll do. So I'm knocking out any of the pending things early in the morning at 9 a.m. So that way I'm getting right through. I'm getting what I need done. Now, if I have to send something to a client, I typically do that after I'm finished running my appointments, or maybe during my break time, during my dialing session when I got my hour break. Then I might send an email to the client for them to get. If I'm in the field, it just has to wait until my last appointment, and I send it when I'm done there. So that way I'm not interrupting my dial time by being on hold for 45 minutes to an hour during your dial day, or I'm not spending time on hold when I could be in between my appointments, when I could be calling to book more appointments, or I could be door knocking to book more appointments as well, or sit with families. So that's how I've been doing it, and it seems to work like perfectly fine for me.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hope everybody, benefited from that.
No problem. Yeah, so it's all of but this is all about organization, because you're working for yourself. A lot of people come in from a 9 to 5, where you had a lot of structure, what you had to do at a certain time for your job task. And here you kind of make your own job task. But the key is to treat yourself with the same respect as you treated your boss at your 9 to 5. If your boss told you had to be at work at 9 a.m., you got there at 9 a.m. Don't, just because now you're working for yourself, you're not getting up at 9 a.m. going to work. You getting up at 11 or whatever the case may be. You don't want to disrespect yourself like that. You want to treat yourself with the same respect that you treated your boss at the 9 to 5 job as well. So
There's something I want to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Jazz.
So what I also want to say is that something else that I had struggled with is like is calling all the calls. Like, so my understanding is that you're supposed to make 900 calls in a day, right? So meaning like you have 100 leads, you should be calling these leads at least 3 times out of the day, like in the morning, the afternoon, the evening. So what I was struggling with was that was getting through all my leads, and I just found that I'm still struggling with it, but one is to get through the leads, whether it be I get through them twice or whatever, but to not be discouraged by the no's, because you got to get to the no's to get to the yeses. And I think that when I was just starting, I would be discouraged by the no's, but it's just that no matter how many no's that you come through, because keep in mind, everybody who filled out this information is not someone who actually wanted it. Like, some people filled it up by accident or whatever. Is that as you are working through the no's, is that you will get to a yes, but you have to give yourself enough consistency to actually get to that place. And part of that is being consistent in your confidence, and knowing that the numbers are going to work themselves out. And a hard thing is that when you're not confident to get through these calls and get the results that you want. So a part of this idea of like, it's not a 9 to 5. This does not have a lot of structure, but this is an opportunity where you can make more than you ever could make at a 9 to 5. Recently I had my best 2 days ever. My best 2 days ever, I made $7,000, and I made over $10,000 in a year. And what it made me think of when I made over $10,000, in a month, I made over $10,000 a month. I probably made close to like $20,000 in a month. And what it made me think about was the 1 year that I worked and I couldn't really find a job. So I had a part-time job, and I had lived in a room, and I had made $9,000 for the entire year. And when I made that money in that month, that's what it made me think about. And that for me was enough motivation as it was. to not only be like, well, you know, I don't want to be where I've come from. I don't want to go back to where I've come from, but also to acknowledge that there are things that I can do at this job that I couldn't do at other places. I've never worked a job where I made $20,000 in a month. I've never even understood that I would have the opportunity to do that. And for people who are on the line who haven't done sales before, is that you have an opportunity to do that here. But you have to create that structure for yourself. You have to create that insight for yourself and be empowered and encouraged, because if Abdul is doing it, if Grant's doing it, and other people, first of all, it's a man I think on this line who doing it, who is in a wheelchair. And I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, I got a man in a wheelchair who might be outworking me, you know, and I don't have no issues getting around. You know what I'm saying?
Tanner.
Oh,
I'm in a wheelchair.
you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, Tanner out here messing up the game out here. You know, ain't nobody got no excuse not to be out here if Tanner is out here, okay? Tanner making people look bad. But
no, you're doing great.
But the only thing that I'm saying is that there are people in place, such as Tanner, such as myself, such as Abdul, such as Chappelle, such as use your resources, use your people to be encouraged, use your people to be empowered. Because the reality is that once you master this, and mind you, it's going to take time to master it, and you're going to need patience to master it. And we all need to grow in some spaces, and patience might be one of them. But once you learn how to do it and learn how to make it work for you, the amount of money that you can make, there's no limit to the amount of money that you can make, especially when you start like building teams and stuff like that. I heard there's somebody out here making $90,000 a month off their own pen. So I would say that, yeah, so that was my struggle. And that's my good word.
Thanks for that. Yep, thanks for that. I appreciate that. That was good. That was good. So since you did mention Tanner, want to ask you a question, Tanner, because everything is not always roses in this business, right? Everything don't always happens like great, right? So I want you to give us some feedback of maybe a run day or like a week where things didn't go your way. You didn't see many families that you have appointments booked for, or maybe you sat with a lot of people and you weren't able to protect them, right? So just tell me what type of mindset, how would you get through one of those like tough weeks to propel to keep working and still able to produce at the caliber you produce at?
Great question. I had one of those days yesterday. I had like 5 or 6 appointments, ended up sitting down with, I think I sat down with 3 people and didn't protect anyone. They all had policies, except for one person who just couldn't afford anything, didn't want to put the money into it, didn't see the value in it, didn't have family, and I just had no place to go with it. And so sometimes, here's the thing, I have like, I talk to a lot of agents and stuff who struggle with that. And I did too at the beginning of, you spend 12 hours on Monday dialing all day long, right? And let's say you have a great dial day, like finally, you've had some rough ones or something, because that's how it is with all new agents. It's really hard to force yourself to get on the phones the amount of time you actually need to be on the phones. Even if you say you're dialing enough, you never are. And so let's say you have one of those days where it's just a good day. You book 10 appointments, you got 5 appointments for each day. And then you go out after that great dial day, you're feeling pumped up, and every single person that you go and you sit down with, you can't protect because they have a reason why. You have 2 ways you can take that, right? Just like anything in life, literally anything in life. You can take it negatively or positively. You can take it as, wow, that sucks. I can't do my job. I can't make money. These people suck. They don't trust me. They don't want to work with me, this or that, right? There's agents out there that have that mentality. They get out, they sit in the car and they beat themselves down, whether it's because they feel like they made a mistake or they don't like the people because they wouldn't do anything with them or got angry with them or something. And then the other way to take it is go sit down and think about how that appointment went, right? Did you handle yourself the way that you should have? Did you ask all the right questions? Did you find their why? Were they already protected? What was the case, right? Did you do something wrong? Can you learn from that? There's so many things you can go past through it. On top of that, right? If you don't have a chance or an avenue or an angle to be able to protect that family, then that family doesn't need protection. There's nothing you can do about that. If you did your job and you went in there and showed them what was best for them to protect their family at an affordable rate in their budget, and they still choose not to do it, then you did everything you can to protect that family. And at that point, it's on them when they pass away and their family don't have money. And I've been in that situation before, getting a call from someone, where's the life insurance? Sorry, he didn't sign up. He said it was too expensive. And so they're left with nothing. And what are they going to do, right? That's not your fault. That's their fault. So take what you can out of that appointment and bring it to the next one, right? So if you gave a full presentation and they chose not to get the coverage, you showed them all three numbers, gave them good options for what they were looking for, and they still choose not to, instead of beating yourself up, find what you can do differently next time to show more value to that family. So that way, next time, instead of walking out of that appointment frustrated, you're walking out, shaking their hands, taking a picture with them and protecting that family, right? It's all on us. Our job is to protect these families, to do what's best for them. We're not doing sales. We're not doing none of that, right? Sales is fails. So you go in there, you find their need, you find their want, you show the value to match with their need and their want, no matter what the program is, mortgage protection, final expense, whatever it is. You show that value. And if you show the value, then there's no way to fail, because why would they not get it? It's just more of finding something that's in their budget. It's the cheapest it's ever going to be. It's only going to get more expensive every month you wait to get this coverage and protect your family. I've shown you the value on all three here. You do your job, right? You take that away, you know you did a good job. If they still say no, there's another learning experience, right? So I got all those yesterday. I got all those no's. I got frustrated and I realized, you know what, today I'm gonna do a little bit of virtual stuff. I'm gonna kind of switch it up, have a little in between, some in person, some virtual, change it up a little bit, because this beginning of the week or end of the week, Tuesday and Wednesday didn't go the way that I planned for it to go. And so I got 4 applications started on virtual sales today and ran out of time because I did call to close and they were at work or they were with their family. And so we had to schedule the appointment to finish the apps for tomorrow or later today. I've got another couple of appointments for final expense and virtual for the next couple of days. And I've got so far, I've only got 6 or 7 in-person appointments, but it's all about what can you do tomorrow, right? It's not about yesterday. What can you do tomorrow, and what can you learn from yesterday to make tomorrow better, right? So it's all a mentality, man. And it's how you take what happens to you, and that makes you who you are. Same with the scheduling that you asked earlier. What I was going to say is scheduling and keeping yourself accountable when you come, especially from a 40-hour-a-week job. It's the people around you. You know what I mean? It's Abdul, it's me, it's Kyrie, it's Corey, it's everyone. You call them, you contact them, you text them when you get up in the morning, you hold yourself accountable, they hold you accountable. We're all here as a family together, as a team together, to help each other grow for a reason. So if you're struggling with your schedule, instead of beating yourself up, maybe recognize that that's something you're not great at and go to someone for help for that, to try to make it a little bit better, right? We all need help in this business. We can't do it alone.
Yeah, those some great points, man. Yeah, so it's all in the attitude. I like to think of life happens for us, not to us. So the things that you're going through today or we went through yesterday is actually making you a better person for tomorrow, right? It's shaping you to the person that you need to be to reach your goals in the future, right? So that's how I like to look at that as well. And those some good answers. What I'm piggyback on that as well, as far as when you go in a home and place for the new agents that you think you did everything right, but you didn't get to sell, call your upline. So call me, call Tanner, call Kyrie, call Corey, call whoever brought you in, and let's talk about it. When we talk about what happened in the appointment, which you could have did better, and we will give you feedback, which I think was the agents that has the best new agent had the best success. They always call it. They're always calling after their appointments just to try to get little tips just so they can get better for the next one that they're about to get to. So so that's all I wanted to do today. We'll let you guys go. If anyone else has a question, they can unmute real quick before we head out, or if Genesis or Corey, if you guys wanted just to mention something before we close out.
Yeah, well, remember at 6 p.m., we're going to have the BDM over Zoom. So we're just going to close this out and I'm going to jump back on at 6 p.m. If you have anyone that you'd like to join this call, just send them the link, same link that you just used to jump on this call on GroupMe. But no, that's pretty much it.
All right, and I don't see no questions in the chat, so I guess we can close out. Thank you all for being here as well. Hope you found value in this training today.
All right, well, I'm gonna close this out. If you need us, give us a call, shoot us a text.